Look out, ladies. Mater's fitting to get funky. That was a quote from Cars 2, the Bahi's favorite Pixar series.
Oh, no. Welcome back, everyone, to the Awful Takes podcast, episode 41.
Whoa.
My name is Nabahi.
Hello, I'm Wallied from Sergator Productions.
And we are here after a little bit of a hiatus. We have a busy summer going on between the both of us. So, yeah, we had to take a couple weeks off. Also, it was kind of vacation time, things like that.
Yeah.
But we're ready to get back into the full swing of things. We saw a few movies. We're going to do some reviews. We got some albums we want to talk about. So if you're interested in any of that, please subscribe so you can hear my awful takes on everything that I talk about, because I don't know what I'm talking about yet. Here I am spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on equipment to share my voice with all of you. If you're joining us for the first time, we structure this with kind of movie news that we find interesting in the beginning, and then we kind of jump to the reviews. We have timestamps in the bottom, so if you just kind of want to skip ahead, feel free to do so if you're here just for the review. But thank you guys for joining us. How have you been, Wallied?
I have been pretty well, pretty busy and everything with
Nice.
life and work and everything, but it's been pretty well. Happy to be here. Feels like it's been a while since we've done this, so I'm very happy to be back.
Nice. We have a piece of movie news that I wanted to cover, at least put out there. A couple weeks ago, we had the unfortunate news that a movie star had passed away who was, for me, someone that I always really enjoyed watching and seeing. Some people probably know him. I don't think he ever really crossed over into that household name kind of territory, but he was someone who had a great on-screen presence. His name is Michael Madsen. You guys would probably know him as a frequent collaborator with Quentin Tarantino. He was in Reservoir Dogs as Mr. Blonde. He was in Kill Bill as Bill's brother. And, you know, he would pop up here and there in other movies. And he was also always very prevalent in voice acting. I know I would always hear his voice in video games and stuff that I would play. Shout out The Walking Dead. And it's unfortunate. When I heard that news, I guess he passed away on July 3rd. Yeah, I don't know. It really is just unfortunate because he has definitely probably one of the most iconic moments in cinema in Reservoir Dogs when Mr. Blonde is torturing a police officer and he's having a weird enjoyment out of it. And man, that scene is... I remember watching that scene when I first saw it. I was just like... It's
very disturbing.
Yeah, here I was playing video games that, you know, teenagers, you know, violence and all that stuff. Yet that scene really kind of got to me, you know. Mm-hmm. And his performance in that movie is just so good. It's unfortunate to hear of his passing. I mean, he wasn't like a main name kind of actor who had, you know, those A-list roles and everything. But man, when he showed up in movies, you know, he always brought it to the table. And he had such a presence with him, you know. I guess in one of the last movies, The Hateful Eight, I was really excited when he was put in that movie just because I feel like he commands like such a presence, and especially in that movie, man, he does such a great job. Yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate to hear about. So I figured I'd kind of mention it. Yeah. Have you, I mean, Wally, you've obviously seen Michael Madsen in movies and stuff. Do you have any kind of staining memory of like watching one of his performances for like a first time, I guess?
Yeah, I would say same thing kind of also for me. First time seeing him in Reservoir Dogs. I really love his performance in that film a lot. That scene, like we mentioned, is really hard hitting and disturbing. Yeah. That's something that I think also is just a very underappreciated thing also is like those character actors. He was very much like a character actor for sure, you know, didn't know the name or wasn't like a household name, but you'd always recognize like his face and things. And I think that's always such a interesting thing to see with some actors where it's like, they're not like a big household name, but you can always just tell what kind of performances they give, and they're always giving it their all. And I always think that character actors like him are always just a very underappreciated thing that I wish more people would kind of give more attention to and talk about.
Yeah, I think it's something that kind of goes understated. The performances that are not the main ones, yet they do such a good job of, enhancing everyone else's performance. Also, usually in those side performances, they do have to go to those darker places. They have to go to, maybe a more fuller extent and show maybe a little bit more than the normal, kind of main actors kind of do. But yeah, it's very unfortunate to hear about his passing. Hopefully soon we can talk about Reservoir Dogs or something. I think that would be cool.
I would love to.
Just because, man, that movie's just amazing
It's crazy.
In general.
It's like a debut also.
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace to Michael Madsen. The next bit of movie news that I wanted to cover is something that me and you have talked about to some extent, but it's something that we've been kind of like waiting on, is the release of this live action Zelda movie that has been mentioned, and now we're getting some groundwork being laid down. Recently, they announced the two main cast members that are going to be in this live action Zelda movie. Still don't know how I feel about that.
Not too excited about it personally, but
it kind of seems like out of nowhere they just kind of released the names of these two people. They didn't ring a bell for me at all. I mean, if I'm just being kind of honest, like I've maybe some people have seen these people in performances, but I know I haven't. Link is going to be played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. I don't know. He's probably been in like a few kind of Netflix series or like, CBC kind of television. And then Zelda is going to be played by Bo Bragason. Again, kind of smaller TV roles. So yeah, like I think that was, if you're going to do live action with Zelda, I think that was probably the right way to go about it. I think if you would have gotten some
like a big household popular name, A-lister,
it could have
maybe been distracting
in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And could have alienated a lot of people. Maybe they did learn a little bit from that Mario Cast announcement. Yeah, two kind of relatively unknown people, obviously been in smaller things, but this is probably like their first kind of big blockbuster, I guess.
Right.
Which I think is a smart way to go about it. I think a lot of people will probably agree that if we would have heard,
Tom Holland, Sydney Sweeney.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Timothy Chalamet, or is, like, come on, people would have just been like, how can we take this seriously?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's unfortunate for those actors, but I mean, it's also just kind of the case with doing adaptations,
right,
is you have kind of a already fan base behind this who has an image in their mind of how they think it should be and how they think it should look. And if you're going to step outside of that, it can run the risk of alienating a fan base,
Right.
Which, I mean, it's unfortunate. Recently we've been seeing that a lot with adaptations and things like that, of people just outright dismissing it. Like, those actors are not the ones I want to see, so I haven't seen it, I will say I'm guilty of doing that. I have not seen Sony's Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Just because when they were cast, like, I was just like, really? Like, come on. Like,
out of all the people you could get, like, really?
Like, I know Tom Holland is Sony's golden boy or whatever, but it's just like, I just didn't see it. Like, as big of a fan as I am of Uncharted, like, I love those games, and
right, exactly.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't make that jump to buy a ticket and go see it. Or even now that it's on streaming, I haven't ever felt the need to click on it.
You didn't miss out on much. I'll just tell you that right now. It's really boring and uninteresting, and it's not that great of an adaptation. Yeah, so,
but I will say, as far as Zelda is concerned, okay, these are the right steps. Like, let's get some kind of unknown actors. Let's get people who are not, have a big fan base behind them. This is kind of giving me just the smallest amount of confidence in this, that, okay, maybe we're doing something right,
Yeah, it's shocking. It's not something I would have expected to hear with this, honestly,
Yeah.
because I kind of expected we were just going to get like, maybe a big famous actor, kind of like what they did with like the Mario film and everything. So, yeah, I know. But I don't know. I feel like once the trailers come out and we kind of see like, first looks and everything, I'll probably have a little bit more of like an idea and opinion of like what to expect with this. Granted, I'm still kind of not excited just because of Wes Ball and everything being like the director and everything. But I'm just going to be just kind of like, I'll just wait until there's more like info about the film.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a pivotal moment in video game adaptations. Granted, they've been doing better as of recent years.
Yeah. I enjoyed that Sonic Part 3. I thought that was pretty good.
I still need to watch that one. I remember liking the first two.
Nice.
But I feel like we're going to reach a moment, especially with Zelda. Zelda is just such a big part of video game history. If this is to go south, I think it could impact video game adaptations for a little bit. This is not just
obscure video game like from Dreamcast.
Until Dawn, or this isn't.
Right.
I know Tomb Raider is a big name, but kind of fell off recent years.
Uwe Boll's movies.
This isn't Prince of Persia with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh God.
This is Zelda. Like Zelda is huge. Like we are very fortunate to have Zelda kind of stay in pop culture relevance over these 25 30-ish years. Like it's been a long time,
especially with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and everything.
And you have generations of Zelda fans. Like this isn't just like, figure that's why Mario made so much money. It's like you had people 25 years ago that was their first video game.
Nostalgia.
So it's something that spans way bigger than just this is a newer adaptation of a newer source material. This goes back a long time.
Yeah. Well, Zelda is also just a very simple story too. It's not like some crazy, aside from Breath of the Wild, like it's not like a crazy complex story. It's like a pretty simple story of like him, saving Zelda and defeating Ganondorf and all that, so I guess I'm also just kind of like interested to kind of see, granted, I'm not super excited about it, but I guess I'm kind of interested to see where they'll take the story, considering it's like such a simple story. And also like Link doesn't talk too, so is he gonna like talk, I guess, in this movie?
This is something that kind of threw me for a loop now that I think about it more and more. I don't know who, granted I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but they announced these two, Link, Zelda. They did not announce a casting for Ganondorf, which I'm kind of interested. I'm like, okay, they didn't announce him. Is Ganondorf not going to be in this movie? And is he, again, I'm really just kind of speculating here.
Right.
Are they going to save him for like a later movie?
Sequel or a third film?
Because I'll be honest, if you're going to announce Zelda casting and you do these two, I'd figure like, well, why wouldn't you want to announce Ganondorf right away? So I'm more leaning into the fact that maybe for this first adaptation, they'll do like a different villain, maybe just Ganon, like, the spiritual embodiment of, evil or whatever, and then save Ganondorf, kind of that human version of Ganon for later on down the line. Kind of similar, I guess, to the newest adaptations with Breath of the Wild. Like the villain in there's this spirit Ganon, Calamity Ganon, and then the sequel comes out, Tears of the Kingdom. Now they bring in Ganondorf, and it was this big moment of like, oh shit, Ganondorf hasn't been in a Zelda game in a long time. I'm excited,
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm interested, but again, still just kind of treading water right now. I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm still a bit more on the skeptical side.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it as far as movie news.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Wallied, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, we're talking about Drake's favorite movie, Cars 2. Have you seen his Instagram post about
I have
this?
not.
Okay, there was an Instagram post he made in 2011 where it's like him standing awkwardly next to the Cars 2 poster, and on the caption it says, "Just saw Cars 2, out of this world." I'll put a picture up when we put up the YouTube video.
Nice.
But yeah, this is Drake's favorite movie,
Okay.
actually, which makes more sense now. But yeah, so oh my God. Okay, so I recommended Cars 2 from by John Lasseter, believe it or not. For those of you who don't know, he used to be the head of Pixar. He's not anymore. He also was involved with the first two Toy Story films. And yeah, it's a follow-up to the first Cars film. And it involves Mater. And they decided to make the whole movie about Mater. And he's a spy, and he goes around the world to Japan, England, and Italy for the World Grand Prix.
Nice.
And so, yeah, my introduction to this film, I actually saw this movie when I went to a summer program when I was 7 years old. Yeah, we went on a field trip actually to see Cars 2. And I remember being so excited because I remember loving the first Cars film so much. For me as a kid, I didn't need story. I didn't need logic or anything like that.
You really don't.
And so I just wanted to see cars just with guns and action. And I got both those. I got both those things. And so, but now that I'm grown up and I'm a lot older than I was 14 years ago, which is crazy, this movie's really awful. But I'll say this, it's kind of entertainingly bad at points. I'd love to know what John Lasseter was inspired by to make Mater the main character of this, because for me, Mater is a side character I never really cared all that much for. I thought he was fine when I saw the first Cars more recently, but I never thought, yes, let's give him his own movie. Let's just say it's Cars 2, so it's kind of a bit of a scam at some points. So, Nabahi, I felt really sorry when you told me about the backstory of you watching this. I would have been very upset if they chose Cars 2 over Lord of the Rings. Talk to me about your experience with Cars and Cars 2.
So the first Cars movie for me is relatively harmless. I mean, it's run of the mill, kind of what I would expect if someone said like, well, we're watching like a children's animation movie, you know? Now that we've kind of broken out of that and, you know, we realize how big of a medium animation can be, this is just like when someone would recommend like Cars or something, or like, you know, Shark Tale. Like I kind of just throw it all into this bucket. That's just kind of like childhood movie, but really geared towards children, you know, not kind of like some of the better Pixar movies where they're children friendly, but they're also serviceable to adults, you know, like obviously the big one is Incredibles. What kid's going to know about being in a dead end job, missing the best days of their youth, you know, children don't know about that. But for the adults in the theater, like it kind of hits a little hard, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, Cars, I just kind of throw into that general bucket of just kind of just like children movie, you know, just kind of really geared towards children. With Cars 2, like I'll say this, like it's relatively harmless, but I think that's what it kind of makes it not as enjoyable, you know. It's just I feel like maybe there were some ideas that maybe could work on paper, but I feel like what kind of lets it down are some of the performances in this movie. It really just feels like kind of a straight to DVD kind of sequel. And I'm kind of surprised that when they were watching this, why didn't they just do that? You know, granted, I know Cars had such a big following and whatever, but it just doesn't feel like Pixar. When I'm watching it, I'm just like, yeah, this just feels so bottom of the barrels. The jokes are just really just kind of whatever. There's maybe like a handful of jokes that I kind of laughed at. But like, for instance, a lot of the jokes just kind of revolve around just dumb
Car
humor.
puns.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like just Mater, being the redneck, tow truck, and it's just him like mispronouncing or mishearing stuff, and I'm just like, this is so like surface level humor, And I just feel like that's what they expect of the audience with this movie. While they're writing it, while they're designing it or whatever, they're probably just like, we don't need to go deeper than that. Like, it's just, this is it, Like, I can't tell you the amount of times, like, Mater, like, mishears something or he mispronounces something. And I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be funny. And yet here I am not laughing.
It's just very awkward.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that I found so goofy that I was just like, God, that is so dated, is when he's all on this plane and he's like a good neighbor, Mater is there.
Oh my God.
I just was like, oh man, I was cringing really hard at that. Or you have these awful two sidecar villains or whatever with their stupid like camera. What is it, like this camera? I'm still trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah,
because it makes literally no sense. So like, wait, they point it at the car.
And it's like EMF frequencies.
Like, and it has something to do with like
engine.
Right. It's something with like the alternative fuel or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't even make any sense. And it's just so goofy. And then of course, anytime these two cars open up their mouths, they're just saying the dumbest things imaginable. Like there's a line that I find so goofy where I don't know if it's like the green or brown car, but he's all, instead of Lightning McQueen saying ka-chow, he's gonna go kaboom. So you just get lines like that, and I'm just like, is this supposed to be like a comedy action spy film, or is it supposed to be more like serious, like you're supposed to be like intimidated by these cars? I don't know.
I think, like, again, what I've heard in the background of this movie is John Lasseter. Again, I don't know how relevant this information or true it is, but apparently the whole kind of idea was brought on of this movie was John Lasseter just having ideas in his head of what if Mater was in England and he was driving on the wrong side of the road,
which is funny because there's a gag, there's a joke they show that, and it was very obvious.
Like, well, if like, so he kind of imagined things like that, and it's just like, that's funny, but that doesn't really sound like a whole movie.
Yeah,
and it's something that Wallied brought up before we were recording. Is they do these little car shorts or whatever, they do them with a lot of their movies. It's just short, maybe less than 10 minutes, just kind of quick, short movies. Why didn't they just do that? Why I would have rather them come up with a better idea for Cars 2, but again, that's just something that even now that I'm saying, I'm like, I still just don't even really care for this universe of cars that are alive. To me, it's just like not that interesting. And again, like even when I was a kid and I was just like, oh, it's just cars that are alive. That's dumb. And I was a kid and I thought that. I was like, that's just stupid. And that's my thing, is like, I don't even really care for this universe. So even then, now that I'm saying maybe they could have made Cars 2 better, I'm like, well, could they have? I really don't know. So
I guess you could have. I guess maybe what I was thinking about throughout was like, maybe something that could have been a lot better was maybe have, obviously the focus being more on Lightning McQueen, and maybe have, kind of expand the world of maybe like F1 racing or maybe like world racing. Like they kind of show it a bit in the film. And I think some of the racing scenes are like, okay, but the problem is that the spy stuff is like the main focus that we keep like, you don't really get that much racing, and so much of it is shown through this goofy like TV camera that I'm just like, it just takes me out of it a lot of the time, unfortunately. But I think that could have been something that you could really explore, if you wanted to show more of like the racing side. I think that could have been like really interesting. Or if you wanted to showcase like Lightning McQueen and Mater's friendship. That's also something I think, because you get maybe like little hints of it, but they don't have that much time together. And most of the film is focused on Mater doing spy stuff, which really isn't that interesting. But yeah, I think, is maybe have like Mater and McQueen like together throughout the film, and maybe they're just having, just expand that conflict more, maybe show like they're a lot more different than we thought they were in like the first film, and maybe show like they're having lots of arguments and maybe they're disagreeing with each other on like what's working and not working, I think maybe if you showed that side more of the film, I'd probably enjoy it maybe a little bit more.
I just feel like this was just so, again, just bottom of the barrel, just simple, like ideas kind of just thought up on paper, and then they just had to find a way to string a narrative together, because it's like you have that idea of Mater driving on the wrong side of the road, or he's in a world he doesn't understand, and I feel like they're in their head like, how do we get Mater to those locations, and they're like, oh, a spy movie, like he's a world spy and he and I'm just like really, like I don't know. And again, like I just still don't even get how this world works. That's one of my big issues. It's just like these cars are alive, but it's like, what, like they run off of fuel, things like that. And I'm just like, there's so many questions that just come into my head, and I'm just like, how
do they use the bathroom?
Oh my God. And it's just,
did you like when he used a bidet? Did you like when it was like a car wash device?
I can't, like, this is just, I just don't care, But again, like, it's not like horrible, worst movie I've ever seen.
No.
It's relatively harmless, but again, this is something that I just attribute to like straight to DVD, straight to streaming.
$5 Walmart bin.
Exactly. Like, this is just something that it's like, come on, like, if you 10 years ago saw that, hey, Toy Story 2 had a little bit more potential than we were originally planning, because that was going to be just a straight to DVD release.
True. Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? It has a little bit more potential. Let's put in theaters. Let's put more into it, Well, why can't you have the opposite effect with this movie? Why couldn't you have John Lasseter, when you were watching this, why couldn't you have been like, you know what? Maybe this is a little bit more than we were thinking. Let's just put it to DVD. Let's just release it. Because
or even just have it in shorts.
Yeah. This really kind of tarnished that legacy of Pixar, I guess, where, year after year, they were just the highest rated movie
bangers,
of the year. Highest rated movie of the year, and usually highest grossing movie. They just, year after year, were hitting that mark consistently. Then this came out, and it was just like, oh, okay, I guess Pixar isn't, guess maybe you don't have it.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. And it's just like, I think the problem is like, out of all the sequels that you could have made after Toy Story 3, okay, you had a great trilogy with Toy Story and everything. What other Pixar films can we make into a sequel? Out of all of them, I still don't understand why they chose Cars out of all of them to expand on, and they don't even really expand on the world all that much. It's just the same thing from the first movie, but now they're like, it's with spies, and now they're like on a world Grand Prix that they barely show anything of. And then you have this lame villain that's supposed to be like a twist, but you could literally guess it in like the first 20 minutes because he has like a green hood. You could literally see it. And also the model of the car is like, there's no other car in the film that looks like that other than Miles Axelrod, this Elon Musk wannabe car or whatever. But that's what I don't really get. Like, I just don't know what they were trying to expand upon other than let's just give Mater some fish out of water things to do, but they don't have any purpose to what you're watching, So I'm still not understanding what John Lasseter's like motivation was with this. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at.
It's a sequel for me to probably one of the least interesting Pixar movies. Again, like, as a young kid, saw Cars, didn't really care for it. So when they were making a sequel, it was just like, whatever. Like, I just don't really care. And I feel like they could have this, like, okay, cars that are spies, things like that. Yeah, that's kind of dialing up the, you know, the knob to 10. That's kind of going in the other direction of really over the top, really silly, you know. And usually I like that stuff. Usually I like it
work.
when
I love it
when movies do that over the top thing. But for some reason in this, I think what it is, what I dialed into when I was watching this movie is I think Mater just, the performance of Larry the Cable Guy or whatever just doesn't really, he doesn't do that much, you know. His jokes are so one note, his delivery is so one note. He doesn't have any range, and it's just like, for me, like, I don't really find redneck, you know, that funny, and we were in that trend for some reason randomly.
That's really
in the 2000s. And I just never really found it that funny, you know. And I think with, maybe if you would have got maybe like a more talented voice actor, maybe I kind of would have gotten more out of it, you know. Maybe that's what it was, is a lot of the delivery of these jokes and things just really just fell flat for me. And I was just like, it's just not, I'm not really laughing at a lot of this stuff, you know. But some jokes are a little funny.
What about when he eats wasabi?
Like, even then, like, okay, like, that's kind of funny, but it's just like the stuff he's saying, I'm just like,
someone get some water.
It just like, it's just, it wasn't connecting with me, you know. And I think that is because the voice actor just he can't do that much, you know.
He's kind of like a one-trick pony, let's be honest.
Yeah, and obviously it works better in the first movie because he is that supporting. When you're with Mater, like the majority of this movie, he doesn't really bounce off of anyone, you know. It really is just him, and you're just like,
it's irritating.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that bothers me too, is like, that's what works so well about him in the first, is like, you can handle him in small doses in that film because he's not in the film that much. But you put him as the main lead of the film. This is the problem I have with some spin-offs sometimes, when they're like, let's put the supporting character as the main character. Well, that's the reason why the supporting character worked, was they were a supporting character, you know. They were nice to have in small doses. They don't work as well as a main character in their own film. I'm not saying it's the case for everything, but with Mater specifically, you can't do a whole film of him. It's like having Minions. It's like when the Minions got their own film. It's like, that's the reason why they worked in the first Despicable Me, is because you got them in small doses, you know, and they would show up sporadically. But once you give them their whole film, it's like, it's just irritating after it's over. And it's just like, you don't want to see those characters ever again.
And it's like, how do the creators and the executives, like, they don't see that? It's like, again, like, you think, oh, that character or whatever had huge popularity. All right, let's do more. Let's do that. And it's like, you lose track of what made us like them in the first place, you know. And you see that a lot with studios and things, is they think, oh, they really liked them, so let's give them more. But it's like, no, we want more, but we want it in the same kind of realm and context that the original was, you know.
And I think
it falls flat. The humor just it's hindered,
does not land
by this performance, you know. And same thing with a lot of performances in this movie, like Owen Wilson, dude. Like, I can't tell you how many lines he gives, and it just feels like just him recording it on his phone or something.
So
like, he just didn't care, and he, you know, just whatever. And I'm just like, so many of these voice performances are just, it just doesn't really, I feel like the disconnect for me is just too much. And again, a big part of this is because of the world. I just hate this world so much. But these cars and these voice performances, they don't go together, you know? Like, Mater kind of does to a bit. Like, yeah, that voice kind of matches what I'm seeing in the animation. But a lot of these cars, the way they look, and you hear this voice, I'm just like, it doesn't connect. It doesn't find that medium of, oh, okay, this character works really well, and this actually feels like as close to a real person or a real, you know, performance. Right. And it's just like, there's that disconnect there. And it's so funny because it's just like, I think that is the world. Like, when they animate these cars and stuff, there's only so much kind of performance
building
that they
and
can
everything
actually
you can do. Yeah.
like with the way the hood is, the way the lights
Eyes are.
Yeah, it's just like you're kind of limited.
It feels creepy, oddly enough. I'm like, so they have tongues and they have like teeth right here, but wait, their windshield is on their eyes. But then they show this. They go to Italy and they show this other car, and their eyes are the headlights, but there's nothing in the windshield, in the window. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how this works. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's so funny. And then I think it's so funny because I had more of a problem with that with like the boats. Like I just find the boats to be like really silly.
Yeah.
You know, with their like teeth and everything, like the military boats or whatever, or their eyes. I'm just like, how does that work?
And I think that it's we're in like a similar situation to like a live action Lion King, where, you know, it's photorealistic, that Lion King movie. And because they went so far in that direction, these characters don't emote as well. They don't show emotion as well as the original animation, you know? And I think with this Cars universe, again, like the emotions, they don't display well through these cars, through these characters. And I think that's why maybe the voice performances for me just feel totally separate from what I'm watching. And it was really distracting. I guess the only one that I kind of liked was Michael Caine as that spy car.
Finn McMissile.
Yeah.
James Bond wannabe.
It's... You know, when I first saw it, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. That's kind of obviously is the James Bond car or whatever.
It's funny. He's like an Aston Martin.
But then as the movie goes on, like, again, I started feeling the same about him. I was just like,
he doesn't really do much in the film. Yeah, he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And then he just keeps thinking like Mater's a genius or something, which I thought was really stupid. He's all, wow, you're really great at playing the idiot character.
They should have done more of that kind of maybe partnership of maybe like Mater being mistaken for this agent, but then pair him with someone throughout the movie who's a real agent, you know?
Yeah, maybe like a Liam Neeson type, or maybe like maybe one of the James Bonds, like a Sean Connery. Yeah,
get Tom Cruise. That would have been funny. It does,
that I would watch.
It does like all his stunts and everything.
That would be way more entertaining.
That would be honestly super entertaining. But I get it. Like Michael Caine, you know, is meant to be that older James Bond thing, which it works. But again, it's just like he appears and then we're just with Mater, you know, and then it's just Mater's just having puns thrown at him, and I'm just like this is just not working for me. But
I don't mind puns either, but the way they show the puns in the film, I don't feel like really accelerate the humor at all. Sorry, no pun intended. But yeah, I find a lot of it just be kind of like obvious and predictable. I feel like there wasn't much effort put into a lot of the jokes, unfortunately.
Really,
and I feel like it was just kind of like mostly wasted potential. I mean, even the villain they show with this like monocle or whatever, he's supposed to be like the Fiat car or whatever. I don't even feel like he does much in the film. He doesn't. Like, you could literally just take him out of the film, and I don't think it really would have changed much,
and
honestly.
The thing is, like, with him, his voice performance and the look of the character works the most, you know?
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, the design and everything I thought was funny. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then he's just gone, and I'm like, I kind of liked, that was like the one character for me that was kind of working.
Yeah,
you know?
And then he gets tased at the end, and then he's like, he just doesn't show up, I guess. I guess he goes to jail or whatever, but still.
Overall, for me, this movie, again, it's relatively harmless. This isn't the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's not even the worst Pixar film.
Yeah, like, again, I think a lot of these ideas, maybe they could have regulated to either a DVD or streaming release, or, you know, do these humor things in shorts, you know, like,
which I think would have been the best. It would have been
way better. Like, cut to Mater in, you know, the other side of the world, you know, and he's out of his element.
Yeah,
you know,
have it be like
simple,
a 5-10 minute short, you know, just keep it simple.
You don't have to string this narrative and kind of tie in this whole thing that just really just kind of falls flat on its face. Yeah, I mean, again, like, relatively harmless. I'm thinking for score, I'll probably be like at a 4 or 5 out of 5. You know, just kind of
5 out of 5?
Oh, not 5. Oh my God.
Whoa, Nabahi. Okay.
I did not mean to say that. You know,
kidding.
5 out of 10. You know, just kind of, you know, it's there. It's there.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, it could be worse. I don't think this is Pixar's worst. I mean, it's definitely one of their worst, but yeah, Cars 2 is just, it's Cars 2, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of the spy stuff, unfortunately, doesn't work for me. I feel like there's a lot of wasted potential and things that I think could have been a lot better, especially with like Lightning McQueen and Mater. Some of the action's kind of okay. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but a lot of the music is not very good in this film. They have like this god awful Weezer cover that they play when they're going to like Japan.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, look, I like Weezer, but like I'm sorry, hearing Rivers Cuomo's voice in a Cars movie is not something I thought I would. I don't want to hear that. No thanks, I'm good. And also Michael Giacchino scored this, but. Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. It was like it could have been a lot better. You could have had a lot cooler themes for like a movie like this, but oh well. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's crazy too because the animation's like really nice, surprisingly, considering it's like the story's not that great and the characters aren't really all that interesting. But yeah, I guess for me, like this is obviously not as good as I remember at all. The world building of Cars still to this day just doesn't make any sense to me. And especially with like the boats, I'm like, I start having a lot of existential questions, unfortunately. And I wish I wouldn't for a movie like this, but, but granted, I will say it's a little bit more entertaining than Cars 3. That one's really boring.
Oh, wow. I haven't watched that one.
Yeah, it's like Rocky 4, but with cars, basically, and it's not that good. But yeah, I guess score wise for me, I'm probably at like a 3. I'd give it a 3 out of 10. Yep. It's just kind of it's there, you know. Obviously, you can see that Cars is not really one of the Pixar films that should have been expanded into a sequel, you know? I mean, there's so many other Pixar films I felt like you could have done like a sequel with, like maybe Bug's Life or Monsters, Inc., which I'm still surprised we haven't gotten a sequel for. But yeah, I guess I would just say like a 3 out of 10. You know, it's there.
All right, here's my idea for Cars 4.
Okay, let's hear it.
Cars collaboration with Fast and Furious.
That would be awesome. So how would Vin Diesel drive the car?
He wouldn't drive the car. He would be a car in this next movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd actually,
and
they could go to space actually too. Maybe
Vin Diesel's all about family, and we would find out about Lightning McQueen's family.
Yeah, is he gonna? Would he join Dom's family by the end of the movie?
Maybe.
Where would Mater be in that?
Mater is now a plane that I don't know what I'm talking about. But again, like if you're gonna do over the top, like maybe I'm
surprised they haven't done that.
They should do something like just really random.
They really should.
And like, I guess, yeah, that's the one thing I heard about 3 is they kind of dialed it back to like the more serious.
Yeah, it's more like a sports movie basically. And they got like Armie Hammer to be like this guy named Storm Jackson basically. And they're supposed to be like these newer cars while Lightning McQueen is like the old school racer basically.
But we already did that in the first one with Doc, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Doc Hudson. It's exactly what I'm saying. So it literally rehashes it while also try to be like Rocky 4. But Nathan Fillion shows up and he was the only good thing about it. So
I like Nathan Fillion.
Same.
All right. But one that I really enjoy, and this is kind of one that I think we've kind of mentioned and I would like to actually have like a kind of discussion on it. Because I know you are probably in the opposite realm of me. I know a lot of my friends are kind of in the opposite realm of me with this movie. But we've mentioned this director a lot, yet we haven't really talked about any of his movies. I'm going to recommend Signs by M. Night Shyamalan. This is a movie that I really enjoy. For some people, though, it just falls apart and it just really doesn't work. But for me, this is a movie that, man, I just really, really enjoy. Every time it comes on, man, I'm just glued to the screen. And granted, like, it has missteps. Like I'll say some of the dialogue isn't necessarily the greatest. Some of the performances maybe could be a little better, but I really, really enjoy the blending of, again, otherworldly stuff kind of surrounded with a personal kind of narrative, you know. Again, Interstellar, you're on this crazy space journey and, you know, you're going through wormholes and things like that. But what ties it all together is this family story, you know, similar with Signs. Like you have these otherworldly, you know, aliens and things like that. Yet what ties it together, which I think was just such a smart decision, you do in this alien invasion movie, tied around this family that's going through, you know, trauma. It's going through troubles, you know, things like that. I love it when movies do that. And I love that this movie, I don't know, it wasn't afraid at the time to really kind of spin everything on its head, you know, because I guarantee most people going into this movie were just expecting alien invasion. That's it, you know, but what you kind of leave with is a very kind of real story about someone questioning their faith, you know?
Okay.
So yeah, I know you don't really share the same opinion, but
I do love it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember not being too crazy about the third act and everything of that film. But it has been a while, so I'm very curious to see how it'll be rewatching it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy this film. It's definitely one of his better films that I've watched for sure. But yeah, okay, cool.
But I would, again, I don't necessarily think this movie's bad.
I don't think so either.
I think it's pretty good. But yeah, this is that'll be our next recommendation, Signs by M. Night Shyamalan.
Cool.
We brought up his name a lot, and this is
that's right. Yeah,
this is our first movie that you know maybe can start the conversation.
Yeah.
Because one thing we'll touch on in the review at the time, M. Night Shyamalan was gaining a lot of traction. You know? Like exactly. He was getting of this big following, and it's so interesting to see, like, okay, where did that kind of start to change? You know?
Yeah. Very polarizing filmmaker, like Ang Lee, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated with him. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about him.
If you guys don't want to be spoiled for Signs, please check it out before the next review. Let us know what you guys think. If you agree with us on any of these topics we talk about, let us know. Yeah, we will see you on the next one.
Cool. Yeah. Good day and good night, mates.